Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the details of a specific digital tool for fitness fans, the Centr personal fitness app.
That's right. And we're working from an excerpt, basically a guide that lays out what the app does, its, pros and cons, and how you'd actually use it.
Yeah, and our mission here is pretty straightforward. Take that info, cut through any hype, and help you quickly get what this app is really all about. We want to pull out those key features, the potential upsides, and maybe more importantly, the things you really need to think about.
Exactly, because there are so many fitness apps out there. So this guide gives us a look at what makes this one tick, why you might be interested, or frankly, why it might not be the right choice for you personally. We're unpacking its approach based on this source.
Okay, so at its heart, what's the main goal of this app, according to the guide? What's it trying to do for people?
Well, the guide sets it up as a pretty comprehensive fitness and wellness tool. Its core idea is to be like a central hub if you're trying to hit specific fitness goals. It's a tool for tracking, it gives you some personal training elements, structured workouts, that sort of thing.
Right, Central Hub. Okay, let's dig into how it plans to do that.
Yeah.
What are the specific features the guide calls out? This is where we get into the mechanics, yeah.
Absolutely. So a really big one is personalized workouts. The guide mentions the app actually tailors routines based on what you tell, things like your fitness goals, how experienced you are.
And even what gear you have access to.
Exactly. And even the equipment you have available. So it's trying not to be a one-size-fits-all deal. It attempts to build a program around your specific situation.
Okay, that makes sense. What about keeping track of your progress, your effort?
Tracking is definitely key. The guide points to its fitness tracking features, saying it monitors like workouts you've done, calories burned, probably other metrics too. And the insight there is really the focus on that feedback loop, how vital it is for keeping users motivated and, sticking with it.
And fitness isn't just sweating it out, right? It's more holistic.
Yeah.
Does the guide mention anything else,
hmm
like nutrition?
It does, yeah. It confirms it's trying for a broader approach. Nutrition guidance is mentioned things like meal plans or recipes that are designed to actually complement your fitness goals.
Okay.
And the source also hints at maybe wellness or mindfulness stuff, suggesting features like meditation or maybe stress management tools could be part of the package.
Interesting. And there was something visual mentioned, too, in the description about who's involved.
Ah, right, the promotional images. The guide specifically calls out seeing Chris Hemsworth in them, which, strongly suggests expert or maybe celebrity-led programs. It gives this impression that the content is professionally backed, adding that layer of credibility, or maybe just appeal.
Okay, so that paints a pretty good picture of what the app is and what it offers.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears a bit. Why would someone choose this app, according to the guide? What are the big advantages highlighted?
Convenience comes up first.
Mhm.
Big selling point. Just being able to access workouts and all the resources anytime, anywhere on your phone, that's a huge difference compared to, say, fixed gym classes or scheduling time with a trainer.
Yeah, that flexibility is huge. And how does that personalization we talked about play out as a benefit?
So the guide basically frames that personalization as leading to better results, potentially. Because the plans are tailored to your level and your goals, the idea is they're more relevant and maybe more sustainable than just grabbing some generic workout online.
Motivation. That's always the tough one for people.
Sure.
How does the app try to tackle that based on the source?
Well, the guide points to a few things here. Progress tracking, for one, seeing those numbers improve,
Hmm.
then maybe challenges the app sets up. And also that expert guidance factor we mentioned. Seeing progress, taking on a challenge, or following a program from someone you see as credible that can all give you a significant boost, keep you going.
And keeping things interesting, preventing boredom, that's crucial too, isn't it?
Absolutely. The guide implies there's a wide range of workout types, strength, cardio, yoga, stuff like that, plus different recipes. Variety is definitely key to stop people from just drifting away because it feels stale.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And how does it stack up against, like, traditional personal training?
The guide positions it as potentially a more affordable alternative.
Yeah.
You're getting structured, guided programming, but likely without that much higher price tag of regular one-on-one coaching.
So that idea of expert-backed content kind of comes back around as a major plus.
Yeah, definitely. If that connection to Chris Hemsworth and his team really means high-quality professional content, as the guide seems to suggest, then that's a pretty big draw for users looking for reliable fitness plans.
Okay, so we've heard the good stuff. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. What are the potential downsides or, let's say, important things to consider that the guide raises?
Yeah.
Because no tool is perfect.
Right. First thing is cost. You mentioned affordable, but it's not free. The guide explicitly notes in-app purchases, which basically signals a subscription model. Full access probably means paying a regular fee.
Fair point. You're
Yeah.
paying for the service in the content library. What else?
Something the guide really highlights is the need for self-discipline. This is critical. The app gives you the plan, the resources, maybe reminders,
Yeah.
but it can't make you do the workout. It can't make you eat the healthy food.
Yeah.
Consistent effort, actually sticking to it, that's entirely up to the user. The app is just a tool.
And this next point. This feels really important, especially when you think about it versus having a real person there.
It really is. The guide is very clear about the lack of in-person correction.
Yeah.
Unlike a trainer standing there watching you who can immediately say, fix your back or adjust your stance.
The app just can't do that.
Exactly. It can't provide that direct, real-time feedback on your physical form.
And the potential consequence of that lack of correction.
The guide doesn't mince words here. It says it could lead to injuries if exercises are performed incorrectly. If you're doing something with bad form, you might not even realize it until you feel a strain or worse. That's a huge difference from having expert eyes on you.
Wow, yeah. That's a major thing for anyone thinking about using it to weigh up. What about just managing all the information inside the app?
That's another potential issue mentioned, information overload. While having lots of options, workouts, recipes, articles is good in theory, the guide suggests some users might find it all a bit overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? What's right for me today?
Right. Paralysis by analysis. And presumably, you need to be online most of the time.
Yep. Internet dependency is listed. To get most of the features, the workouts, the tracking updates, you'll likely need a pretty stable internet connection. Not always a given if you're traveling or in certain areas.
Okay. And even with the personalization, is there a limit to how tailored it can really be?
The guide hints at that, yeah. It suggests that while it is personalized to a degree, it still might not cater to highly specific or complex individual needs, quite like a dedicated human coach could. If you've got, say, a very specific injury rehab need or super niche performance goals.
A human expert might still be the way to go.
Probably, yes. The app might be too generic for those really complex cases.
Okay, so we've really unpacked the picture from this guide. The features, the benefits that sound pretty compelling, but also some really significant drawbacks to be aware of. So if someone listens to all this and decides, okay, this approach sounds like it fits what I need, how do they actually get started with it, according to the guide?
Right, so the guide lays out the practical steps, basically starting right from the App Store page. First step, obviously, is download and install the app onto your phone or tablet.
Standard stuff. Then what?
Then you'll need to do the whole account creation login. Open the app, either sign up as a new user or log back in if you've used it before.
And this is where that personalization engine really starts working. Right?
Exactly. The guide calls this the onboarding process. And it's pretty key. This is where the app will ask you to input information. Things like, what are your specific fitness goals? What's your current level? Any dietary preferences? Crucially, what equipment do you actually have?
Ah, okay. So it gathers all that data first.
Yeah, that's the info it uses to try and build those personalized plans and tailor the whole experience for you.
Makes sense. Give it the data to work with after you're all set up.
Then it's really time to explore content. The guide mentions you'll probably find different sections like areas dedicated to browsing workouts, finding meal plans or recipes, checking your tracking data, maybe a community section or other resources too.
Got it. And then just jump in.
Pretty much. You then start your journey, follow the plans it suggests, do the routines, and the guide emphasizes consistently log your activities. That's how you track progress, and it also gives the app feedback to potentially adjust things for you down the line.
All right. Keep feeding it data.
Exactly. Oh, and it adds another little reminder. Just be aware that some features, maybe premium content or full access, might need those in-app purchases we talked about earlier. Something to keep an eye out for as you explore.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize all this. Based on what we've drawn from this guide excerpt, the Centr app comes across as aiming to be, well, pretty feature-packed, convenient, definitely focused on personalized digital fitness guidance. It offers variety, seems to lean on that expert association.
And it's a significant, but the guide also makes it really clear that it comes with costs, subscription fees. It absolutely requires consistent self-discipline from you, the user. And maybe most critically, it lacks that real-time in-person form correction. The source explicitly flags that as a potential injury risk.
Yeah. This deep dive, looking just at this guide material, really paints a picture of a comprehensive tool, but one with very practical and potentially serious limitations.
What's really interesting putting it all together is that clear trade-off it presents you with.
Absolutely. Which leads us nicely into a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on as we wrap this up. Given that an app like this offers, incredible convenience, a huge amount of potentially expert-backed programming right on your phone, but it fundamentally cannot provide that immediate, in-the-moment feedback on your exercise form like a human trainer can, something the source directly warns could lead to injury. How do you personally weigh that? How do you balance the value of digital access and all that structured content against the maybe absolute necessity of getting your form corrected right then and there in your own fitness journey? Something to think about.
Definitely something to consider. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.